Good evening, everybody. I got an echo. Hang on. Ooh, that's interesting. Hang on. I know what the problem is. I'll be right back. All right, that should have fixed everything. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Sweepin the Dirt. Um, I had in my head a wonderful show planned. Unfortunately, my medical condition has a headache planned that I have had for a couple days now. So I am still going to do a brief show, but it's not going to be what I wanted to do because I don't think I can sit here and do it. This is not my eyeball kind of headache. This is a sinus snowstorm pain in the breathing kind of headache. Hey, other side of the boat, how you doing? Let me get my bot opened it up here. Yeah, let's get the night bot out, see who's working. M3 has retired to the bedroom, so I don't know that he's going to be making an appearance tonight. But we are going to talk a little bit about metal detecting. I had planned this show quite a while back, and then recently I've seen a couple other folks uh, talking on this topic. So I'm going to throw my 2 cents worth in, and just in case you didn't see their shows. Hey, Daniel. Hey, Pat. How y'all doing tonight? Glad to see you in the house. Um, get back over here on the yard of streams. Um, Couple of things I want to talk about tonight as far as metal detecting is um, I'm curious as to what type metal detecting show you would like to see me do during this period of time when I can't go out and dig because there's snow on the ground and I can't see where I'm going. But if there's like some informational show that I could be of help with, let me know. And I'll see if I can put that together. Um, Tonight, I'm going to touch a little on some research I did last winter that I never really got to follow up on, but it might be helpful for y'all to be uh, aware that you can use these kinds of things to find areas to hunt in. All right, John, I know I wish I could be in two places at once, but I can't. I can barely be here. One of the things I want to talk about are map services that are online and maps in general. Um, I when I moved to this part of Virginia, hey Don, when I moved to this part of Virginia, I didn't really know where the historic spots were. Hey, Cynthia. So, what I did initially was I went down to my public library and I discovered they had these big old plat books down there. I had originally gone to the city hall because I live in what is called an independent city. And so I thought, oh, well, they'll have the plat maps. And they said, no, we store those down at the library. So I went to the library and was able to make some interesting discoveries by looking at those plat maps. Found out where some old school buildings had been that no longer existed. Found out where that our big city park here actually used to have some things in it it doesn't have anymore, like a racetrack. And initially, I wasn't sure, was that a car racetrack or was that a horse racetrack? And the answer was yes, it was both. Uh, and I did actually find like some parts of car emblems and different things on that part of the park, which really wasn't where a lot of people were looking in that park. I But that park has been pretty well picked. However, you can use those type of maps to find similar things in your area. Another thing I found at the library was a book that talked about the history of this surrounding area as it related to the Civil War, and it turned out to have some maps in it showing the troop movements. And I was able to, I couldn't check the book out, but I could take photographs with my camera on my phone of the maps that were in that book. And then I took those maps and went back over to those plat maps and figured out whose property those troop movements had gone through and where they could have possibly camped. Turns out one of my family members' property was in that line. So I haven't really gotten to look out there yet, but because it's been too overgrown. But that's another way of finding some places, especially if you're into war relics. Um, I also went into their genealogical section and found books about old churches that do not exist here anymore. Because back in the day, most of those churches had some picnic tables and little areas where they would have their uh, after church meals and that kind of thing. And I've got them mapped out so that I can go, and one of them happens to be a church I know someone at, and they have gotten me a permission for around where they still have picnic tables and stuff out there. So that's another way. These are all freebies that you can use to try to find places that may not have been hit before, because the existing parks may have already been picked over and picked over and picked over. Whereas a park that isn't there anymore, or like an old church building or something, um, might be not too many people know it was there. And here's one of my favorites. And the reason this is a favorite is I actually found one of these when I lived in Georgia, and I used to stop at this place periodically. What you need to do is find yourself some highway road maps from as far back as you can get that actually show streets and highways that would have had the roadside rest areas. I don't mean the rest areas like we have now with the concrete buildings and the bathrooms. I mean the old rest areas from the 40s, 50s, and 60s. You would find a designation for those on like the maps that you would get at the gas station. Roadside parks. Now, I found this roadside park in Georgia. I used to call it Penny Park because I found so many things there. This had been, yeah, a wayside. This particular one I found in Georgia had been a really nice one at one time. It currently still has about 10 picnic tables, but it actually later on, and I'm going to say probably in the 50s and 60s, also had uh, electrical sockets where you could plug in, and there were probably 30 of those in the park. It was really awesome, and I found a lot of stuff in there, but I know it had been uh, detected before because the things I was finding were pretty deep. So, uh, anyway, this is just a little piece of trivia. The first wayside roadside parks were actually in the state of da da da. Wait for it, folks. Michigan. I have actually been to what is believed to be the very first of the wayside roadside parks. And it has a historic marker on it that explains about that. And so it really did, with the emphasis on car building and stuff that happened in the state of Michigan, it really did not surprise me when I found that roadside marker up there that indicated that I was at one of the original ones. Oh, here we go with the Russians again. Oh my. Let me get this doodah out of here. Goodbye, dum dum. There we go. One down. So anyway, if you can find, and I have found several at yard sales, old highway maps like from the Shell station or the Exxon or any of the older uh, maps like that. When you look down at the key of the map, it'll show you where cemeteries, the marking for cemeteries and the marking for libraries and the marking for the wayside roadside parks. Now, most of them are gone. But if you find the ones that are marked on lesser highways, like county roads or state roads, rather than the ones that were on, oh, absolutely they are, Pete. When I was doing the 12 days of Christmas, we had 10, 12, 15 of them. You do not really want to do a live stream unless you've got 2 or 3 moderators in there, because if you're trying to like look at coins or show items that you found detecting and your eyes are off that stream, believe me, you will be real happy that you have moderators, because they can catch that stuff faster than you can. It was horrible during the holidays. Right after New Year's, we were getting hit 10, 20, 30 of them in the stream. It was really, really awful. Like right now, I've got a couple mods in here. Cynthia is a mod, and Muscle Shell is a mod. Usually I have John Jacobs, but he's jumping back and forth. to, another channel that he's also a moderator on. But yeah, oh yeah, they will slip in here even if you have your stream set where they cannot post a hot link. They will still just post a typed out link. I have mine where they can't make a hot link that you can just click on. But you still could copy that and paste it in and go to it if that's the kind of thing you're into, and I hope nobody in my channel is. But yeah, they're pretty bad. Hey, Mikey, there's another one of my mods. We were just talking about how important the mods are when the bots come in and start putting their little nasty links up. And I was just thanking my mods. Anyway, back to what I was discussing about the roadside parks. When you can find those maps, like I said, a lot of those parks have all completely been bulldozed under, roads were widened or whatever. But when you do get out into some of those country roads and state roads in the more rural parts of states, you can still find some of those. Or you can find like a historic marker for some little local event that had happened. And usually those parks were kind of near that kind of thing. And so I started looking on those maps, and even, if I got out on the road and the road was still the same size, but I just didn't see the park anymore, I will plug in the GPS coordinates from the map, and try to dial in using GPS. And you may just be pulling off on the side of the road where it doesn't look like there's anything there, but there used to be something there. Exactly, Pete. You're going to want to have my very first live stream. I had no mods, and they took me down. Back then, it was really easy for them to go on and report you, and they would say you were showing porn, or you were using, talking about killing people or something. And so the YouTube would actually shut your stream down. Well, my very first one, I didn't have any mods. They shut me down 3 times. By the third time I got back on, I was crying like a baby because I was so upset. I had no idea that this kind of thing was going on. And Handy Andy 73.6 jumped in, and I made him a mod, and he's like, he's got his own channel now, but at the time he was modding for just about everybody that was anybody, because he was right on getting these people out of there and stopping them from damaging our channels. Yeah, let me see. Up the East Coast. Okay, I'm reading Sir Benji's. Okay, what you're going to want to do is not be on I-95. You're going to want to be on like US 1 or A1A, or a little further in from the coast where you can get on the smaller roads, and you'll probably have a better chance of finding some of those small parks. Yeah, I've never been to that one, Cynthia, but there's one about 10 miles north of Quitman, Georgia. That's the one I was talking about that I call Penny Park, because there's just so much stuff I would go there if I knew I didn't have a lot of time and I just wanted to go and try to find something. I knew I would always come out of there with something. I found everything from keychains and rings and pennies and pennies and pennies. Found wheat pennies. I found Lincoln pennies. I found shield pennies. I found Indian head pennies. That's why I called it Penny Park. Um, I found a small uh, little pit where somebody had buried their jars and mason jar lids, the old ones with the porcelain insert caps. Yeah, I mean, I pretty much found everything in that one because it had been there. The farthest back I map that I could find it on was 1952. But anyway, if you can find those old road maps and look at the state roads and the county roads for that little indicating mark of a wayside park or a roadside park, um, you will probably still find a few of them that are intact. And like I said, that's kind of a source that most people don't think about because a lot of people, if they are 20 years younger than me, have never seen one of those kind of parks before. When we were growing up in the 50s and 60s, when you went on vacation, that was what you did. You packed you a cooler and you pulled off the side of some country road at one of these little parks. If you were lucky, you got one that had a picnic table and a grill. Sometimes you just got one that had a picnic table. Once in a while, you'd even get one with an outhouse. But you would pull off there, and mom would open up the cooler and start building sandwiches. A lot of times you didn't even have the cooler. You just stopped at some little mom and pop gas station out in the middle of nowhere and got you a pack of bologna and a loaf of bread, some ketchup and mayonnaise, bag of chips, and everybody got pop out of the machine. And then you'd go up the road till you found a place to pull over, and that was it. You'd sit out there and eat. Another thing that you used to do back in that same time period was these little small towns that would have like a tiny park in the middle of them with a gazebo and maybe a couple of swing sets and a couple of uh, picnic tables and grills. And I detected several of those when I lived in Georgia. And only one time did I have anybody say anything at all to me about detecting in one of them. And once I showed the guy what I was doing and how I was doing it, he had no problem. And uh, so that's another option. Um, a lot of those, especially the ones way out in the country, nobody has done. Yeah, that's it, Don. I remember one summer we went from Florida to Iowa. We used to go to Iowa every year, and well, we'll do that when I get up there, Benji. I got a couple of places I know about that uh, we can do, but right now I'm not physically capable to detect. I can't see well enough, but I'm itching, boy. I want to get out there bad. Um, but anyway, those are a lot of things, especially people that have not been detecting for very long, do not know to look for places like that. Um, uh, anyway, what I was going to say about Dawn's comment was one year we went to Iowa, and one of my aunts had moved down to Florida, and she had 5 kids, 4 boys and a girl. And so we were all going back up to Iowa together for vacation. So we had 2 carloads full. There was my parents, me and my sister and my cousin Mary in one car. And then my aunt was behind us in her car with the 4 boys. So, yeah, we stopped at those kind of places all the way up because we couldn't afford to stop and feed all those kids in a restaurant. You just couldn't do it. We didn't have a lot of money, but my dad had promised my mother that if she would allow the family to move to Florida, that he would take her back to Iowa every year to see her family. And the aunt that was following us was one of my mom's sisters. So we were making this big adventure. And I remember we had an assembly line on the hood of my aunt's station wagon where my mom just laid a tablecloth out and we laid out all the bread, and we were just like, okay, here's enough bread lined up for however many sandwiches we needed, and we're flopping the cheap bologna on there. That was how we ate. We had a frying pan in the car that mom had under the front seat, so we could do breakfast in the morning, and she'd just dump a bunch of eggs in it. We'd find somewhere we could have that on the one of the little grills. So that was kind of why I ran across that one in Georgia by accident, and then that made the little bell go off in my head about how many of those things I had stopped at all over the country as a kid, and even up into the 60s before they started building the fancy rest stops. When I was traveling around to different stock car tracks that I had to go write articles about, I would stop at those, have my cooler. And back then you could be out there and another car wouldn't go by for hours, and the kids would be running up and down the side of the road and stuff got dropped. And I know for certain my mother lost at least one really nice earring out there once because she had all us kids looking for it for about an hour, and finally Dad just told her, nope, we got to keep traveling here or we're not going to get to our destination. But anyway, those are just some of my suggestions. You may have heard them before, or they may be totally new to you. Like I said, younger people don't really know so much about those little town square parks or the little roadside things. So, like I said, if you're at a yard sale or something like that, especially like estate sales, sometimes you'll find big boxes full of maps. And if you see highway maps of your area or an area you want to go detect in, you can pick them up pretty cheap and do your research on them. And like I said, you can use modern things like GPS to figure out where those parts were based on your older maps. And then when you're done with the map, there's you can sell them to somebody else or give them to somebody else and share that info. Another thing that was marked on those maps that they really don't mark on highway maps, they don't really make highway maps anymore, but as things got more modern, uh, they quit doing it. But schools, old schools, were marked on those maps. And you can go and see if those schools still exist. Um, I guess it's about 4 or 5 years ago, they were renovating the school right here in the town I live in, and they had it all dug up. And I didn't live here then, but I was already watching metal detecting videos, and I don't know how many of you are familiar with JD. Now I think he calls it JD's Treasure Quest. It used to be JD's Variety Channel. But anyway, I'm flipping through one day and I'm watching JD, and I realized I knew exactly where he was because my sister lives in this area and I had seen that school before, and I'm like, hey, get off my turf. uh, Half a box of nickels done. Got 243p war nickels and a 41 with the steps still showing. Yeah, that's pretty good because usually the steps are pretty much worn off of the monument on the back on the 40s nickels. Yeah, I've still got more nickels I got to go through. I went through some the other night, but my health has not been good this week. They are messing with my meds, trying to get me ready for my eye surgery. So they're weaning me off of some medications and changing some of the other ones. And it is giving me a terrible headache, just awful. So I'm kind of struggling to do shows, but I don't want my channel dying again. So, uh, like I said, when I started this one tonight, I wasn't going to stay on too long, but I think I've given y'all a number of ideas of places to try and find some detecting spots that you might not have thought of before. Um, if you would hit the thumbs up and all of that good stuff for me tonight. You missed a whole bunch of me babbling on about places to uh, do research on finding places to metal detect. But it's all recorded and you can go back and watch it later. It's not super duper long because I'm not feeling great. But I wanted to get some of that info out. And also, if y'all would, in the comments, um, leave me what kind of metal detecting discussions you would like me to delve into. Do you want me to talk about equipment? Do you want me to compare different types of detectors? Do you want me to stick more with the low budget? Because I'll tell you the truth, I know a whole lot more about low budget machines than I do about the high dollar ones, simply because I don't have access to those, other than the fact that my friend Tony owns a bunch of those. Um, so I can pull him in to demonstrate. He's got an Equinox and he's got a couple of whites and he's got some equipment that's way, way more efficient than mine, and mine's not bad. I will tell you. I am too, Cynthia. I miss having you in the stream. Um, anyway, I'm not going to stay on too much longer. Those of you who were participating in the 12 Day of Christmas and Epiphany giveaways, I am working on those packages. Um, some of them are probably going to go out tomorrow. Um, but we have had snow on the ground for the last 3 days, well, since Sunday. So It started about 4 o'clock Saturday afternoon, and so I have been hesitant to ask the lady that comes to help me to drive all the way into the post office right now, but I am getting them done. Uh, it's just going to take me a bit, combination of my health and this nasty weather. Oh, we got snow here, Bubby. Yeah, we do. So, anyway, because I am not feeling great, I'm just going to leave you with all the information. I have a Garrett 400 that I used. I just started last year. Yeah, I had a Garrett 300 and I liked it, but then um, Metal Detecting NYC, Merrill, started telling me about the Simplex Plus, the Nocta Macro Simplex Plus, and because he knew I wanted a waterproof machine that wasn't going to cost me my arms and legs. So I got the Simplex. I still had the Garrett, and I also had a Bounty Hunter. Uh, but I got out there with that Simplex and went back over places I had been with my Garrett. Hey, Clark's Cove. Um, and I was just amazed with the things I was finding that my 300 had missed. So I started doing little experiments where I would go over the same patch first with my Bounty Hunter, then with the Garrett 300, and then with the Simplex. And after I did that for a couple weeks, I put that Simplex back in the box and listed it on eBay and sold it, or the Garrett, and kept my Simplex. And I'm not sorry that I did. I love my Simplex for a number of reasons. But I mean, the Garretts are good, solid machines. I'm not going to badmouth them at all. They are really good, solid machines. I just happen to like my Simplex better because it seems to be better balanced for me personally with my bad back. And also, at the time, I was living on the Florida Georgia border, and I would be out in the middle of a field and it would start pouring rain. And I'm out there and I'm trying to keep that Garrett dry. I've got it up, shoved up my shirt and all kinds of stuff. I didn't have to worry about that with my Simplex because it doesn't just have the waterproof coil, it has the whole electronics are waterproof. And I I just felt better about it. But my best friend that I got involved, she lives in Texas and they are Garrett people. I mean, the people that I started watching were mostly Garrett when I first got interested in doing it again. But I really love my Simplex, and as diehard Garrett as the Clark Cove detecting folks are, that's how diehard Simplex I am. I just love my Simplex. And the pricing is good on it. The amount of technology you get for that money is really good. So, I have done, in fact, somewhere I have a video where I compared the Simplex and the Apex. And I had all of the different things up side by side. I'll have to find the link for that. And each one had its positive points. I just happen to like what I like. And, like I said, I went over this one place with 3 different detectors and found 3 totally different sets of things. And You know, a lot of it is, what are you hunting for? And what kind of soil are you hunting in? It does make a difference. Like if you're going to hunt beaches, um, truth be told, Garrett and the Simplex both are kind of not the best machine for that. All right, Cynthia, thank you. So glad to see you. Um, After you've had those machines for a while, you will learn how to dial them in to get the best result you can get from them. But truth be told, those are not the best machines if you're going to be on the beach all the time. If you're going to be in parks and that kind of stuff, you'll find some goodies. There's no doubt. But if you're going to buy for the first time, I strongly suggest you watch a whole bunch of videos first. See where the people are using them. See if the machine that you're interested in has additional coils available. Oh yeah, I wish I could own a Knox. I have a poor man's Knox. That's what we call the Simplex. It's the poor man's Knox. But you know, I cannot afford one. Cynthia also has a Simplex. And she'll tell you there's a place for everything. But where I was living, the Simplex was outperforming the Garrett, and now I haven't really gotten to detect here enough to know because I got sick right after I got up here. So, but we'll see what happens. I did learn a lot from some of the British detectorists about how to make the Simplex work on the beach, how to do the ground balance on it to get the maximum out of it. I want to find old silver, really old silver. So bad, so bad. Well, I know of one place that when I get up to Michigan, Sir Benji, we will have to go there because I have a friend who has found old silver there, and that friend has offered to allow me to go. So I will see if they will also allow you to go. Yeah, see, one of the interesting things about Michigan is that's a pretty old area as far as settlement, and people don't necessarily think that, but you've also got all these things that came in by way of the Great Lakes and those rivers up through there. And I have friends that have found some amazingly old stuff in Michigan. So, yeah, I'm chomping at the bit to get up there. Alrighty, my eyes are starting to do this bad dance. So, I'm gonna let y'all go. You can run back through all of the research ideas that I suggested and see if there's anything in there that you can use in your area to find you some spots that haven't been hunted out yet. And like I said, also, if you could leave in the comments um, ideas of things you would like me to discuss over the winter when I can't go out and dig, that would be appreciated too. And I'm going to run, and I will be back probably before Monday night, but Monday night at 5 o'clock Eastern. No, I'm sorry, I changed that. I am now doing 6 o'clock Eastern um, for both of my shows. But Monday is the Lodo coin collecting show, and hopefully the car wash will be back open by then and I can get some quarters. and wash all the salt off my car. Uh, if not, I will try to get something from the bank. Or we're going to finish up these nickels that I haven't finished yet. So anyway, definitely Monday night, unless I am too sick to do it, we will see you at 6 p.m. And I'm going to try to get on sometime during the weekend and do an update as well. Yeah, I got to go rest my eyes. Yeah, M is in bed. He has curled up inside a quilt, and he is a happy little kitty right now. He played with his catnip banana and then went and crawled into the bed, so he's good. He's probably in better shape than I am. All right, I want to thank everybody for popping in. I am working on the packages, and I appreciate all your support. We'll see y'all later. Thank you so much. Much love to you all. I think the coin crew's got something going on right now. I'm not sure who else does, but I know that they do or did. So anyway, y'all have a great night, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.